Hey guys, Alex here, back again. And yeah, I mentioned in my video a couple of days ago that I wanted to do a vinyl update. I've managed to pick up some nice things, some nice records over the last few weeks, and yeah, always eager to come on here and share them with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and just show the recent stuff that I've picked up. I'm pretty stoked actually with the stuff I've managed to find over the last few weeks. Um, it's rare that I run into so many records that I want, at one time. But yeah, these last few weeks I've managed to find some pretty awesome things, and very happy with my pickups. So yeah, looking forward to showing those. Playing in the background is Steve Hackett with his 1978 album Please Don't Touch. And yeah, I just felt like giving this another spin. Only played it a couple of times since picking it up, so always feel like I need to play this a few more times before I can really appreciate it fully, I guess. So that's what you hear in the background. So I'm going to get into these finds now. I'm going to start with the only 7-inch that I've picked up. I'm not really a massive singles buyer. I mean, I know there's plenty of people out there in the VC that buy 45s, and I can see why. I can see why you'd want to collect them, especially the kind of Beatles ones and the rare kind of early singles that were put out in the 60s. And, many of them have become very collectible, and I can see the reason why people would want to buy 7 inches, 45s. But I don't know, for me it's just never been something that I've prioritized above buying full-length LPs. I don't know, I kind of tend to buy records not for their collectability, but for their listening value. And I find that when I play a single, the fact that there's only one single song or two songs on a 7-inch, I don't really see the point in spending, sometimes the equivalent of what I'd pay for an LP on, something I'm not going to get nearly as much enjoyment out of, I guess. So in general, I don't buy that many singles 7 inches. I have my collection. I have probably 30 or 40, I guess. And yeah, I came across this one in a charity shop. I went back home for the weekend for my brother's birthday, and I went to one of my favorite charity shops where I used to pick up a fair few records back in the day. And I saw this in the cabinet, and I just picked it up because it was, I think, £4 I paid for this, and I posted this on the Facebook page. This is the Smiths with their single from, I think, 1983. This is Big Mouth Strikes Again, which I think is one of their earliest singles. I think the Smiths go back to the very early 80s. So this, I think, is a couple of songs from The Queen is Dead, which is obviously probably their most famous album. And I have to say, I've never been a massive Smiths fan. I like The Queen is Dead. I like a few of the earlier stuff, a few of the earlier albums, but I've never fully kind of delved into their back catalogue, and I don't have any Smiths albums on LP. So yeah, I mean, not a massive fan, but then again, there are songs and albums. I mean, The Queen is Dead is always going to be a masterpiece. So I thought I'd pick this up for £4. I thought it was a pretty good deal for that. And yeah, this is Big Mouth Strikes Again. I've listened to this through. This has got, what's the song on the B-side? Money Changes Everything. And this is on Rough Trade, as you can see. B-side. And I believe this is, I don't think it's a first pressing of this. I don't think it's an original. I think this might be a second press. But it was in the collectibles section of the charity shop I was talking about. So yeah, it must be reasonably rare. And I was talking to, I think, Dino, part of the VC, Dino, who actually lives pretty close to me, back where my parents live. He lives in a town kind of adjacent to where I used to live. So he was saying that was the only single he didn't have as part of his Smiths collection. So yeah, I mean, it must be quite hard to find. So I was pretty happy to find that one. So that was the only single that I picked up. Going to move into my LPs now. I've got 6 to show. And so this first LP here is probably the best find that I've managed to pick up in 2014 so far. I was amazed to find this for the price that I did. You know, I would have expected or even been willing to pay probably double the price almost for this album, you know, for what you get in the package. And yeah, this is an album which came out last year, I think about midway through the year. And I was under the impression that this came out in the UK last year when the album was actually dropped. But I was told by my friend Brandon that he'd picked it up. He'd picked up this album, I think in HMV, and he paid a very good price for it. And he told me that it just come out in this country. So that kind of surprised me. And I went on Amazon and I searched for this, and I was amazed. I was just astounded to find this for, I think it was £12 or £12.50 I paid for this in the end. And for the album and the packaging, I couldn't have asked for more. And I actually picked up 2 copies in the end. I picked up a copy for myself and a copy for my brother, who, he's recently been getting into records and he's massively into hip hop. And so I thought I'd pick up a copy for him and obviously a copy for myself. And the album that I'm talking about is Run the Jewels, which is a self-titled hip-hop album which came out last year. And of course, Run the Jewels is the collective hip-hop duo of Killer Mike and LP. And these two go back to 2012. I think that was the first time they worked together. And LP was kind of the producer and Killer Mike was the rapper on his 2012 album Rap Music, which was one of my favorite albums from that year. And they kind of teamed up again last year and put this album together. And this very much saw LP come much more into the forefront of the actual rapping. You know, he does a lot more rapping on this. Well, I don't think he did any rapping on Rap Music, but on this project he did, you know, probably equal amount to Killer Mike. And it's just a great, great project. I love this. It came in my top 20 of last year. And yeah, if you're into kind of old school, competitive, abrasive, pummeling hip hop with some amazing lyrics. I mean, the lyrics on this thing, probably some of the best hip hop lyrics I heard the whole of last year. And some really kind of classical, but also very kind of contemporary production at the same time, I would say. So if you're into that, then this is definitely worth picking up. As I say, just came out in the UK, and the pressing of this is amazing. You see it's a gatefold 2 LP set. You get an insert with, I think, the lyrics. I think this is a lyric sheet there, so you get that as part of it. And probably the most amazing, probably the most pleasing thing about this package was the colour scheme on the vinyl. Just an amazing colour. Clear green splattered vinyl, which I thought was just really, really cool, as you can see there. Also some really awesome labels with the skeleton hand kind of signalling what side you're playing, which I thought was really awesome. And you also get some kind of extras that weren't included, I don't think were included in the US version. They might have been, but you get some instrumentals and some remixes on the D side of this. So all in all, I couldn't be happier with what they've done with the UK press of this. I was tempted last year to import a US version and obviously get it on vinyl last year, but I'm very glad now that I waited for the UK version to come out because they've done an amazing job and they put it out at a very reasonable price. So yeah, check this out if you're into really great quality hip-hop. So that was Run the Jewels. As I say, probably the best find of 2014 so far. I was stoked to pick that up. And also one of the only new records that I picked up recently. The remainder of these finds are all secondhand. But, I mean, I'm really happy with the rest of these too, and I'm going to get into the rest of them now. I'm going to start with a couple of albums which I picked up at the same time in my local record store. I've mentioned before they have a great kind of second-hand section where they've got, you know, they have new things coming in almost every day. And yeah, I think I got in pretty early on these two because I would imagine these would have been snapped up pretty easily. And this first one is the songs of Leonard Cohen from 1967, obviously the debut album from singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen. And yeah, again, before hearing this, I was pretty kind of naive towards Leonard Cohen's music. I mean, I don't know what it was about him. I mean, I'd heard certain songs and I'd kind of been turned off a little bit because of his voice. And obviously he's got a very kind of deep and in some ways almost monotoned voice, I guess. And that, I guess, originally kind of put me off Leonard Cohen. And I was kind of stacking him up against Dylan and all these other songwriters. And after hearing this, my opinion on his music is completely reversed. It's done a U-turn. I am now a massive, massive fan of Cohen's music. And I think this first album, I've heard a few of his albums now, and I think this is probably my favourite one still, his debut from 67. And yeah, I was amazed to get this. This is a UK original. I picked this up for £4.50 in my record store, which I thought was a great price, and very, very nice condition. It's got a few creases in the cardboard, in the sleeve, but the vinyl plays amazingly well. So yeah, I was stoked to find this, and yeah, I played it probably 4 or 5 times already, and I can't get over how much I dig this. So yeah, very happy to find that one. And at the same time, I managed to pick up, admittedly, this is a budget version of this album, but I just wanted to have it on vinyl, and it was only £2.50, so I thought, you know, I might as well pick this up. I got a copy of John Lennon's Mind Games from 1973. And yeah, this is a budget version, I think, on Music for Pleasure. I think this came out in 1980 or the very early 80s, when they started kind of reissuing and remastering Lennon's music, you know, obviously after his death. They put out, I think, this, yeah, in the 1980s, the very early 80s, and it plays nicely enough. You can definitely tell it's not a very high quality pressing, but to be fair, you know, it's a John Lennon album and it was £2.50, so I thought I'd just take the plunge, take the risk, and pick it up. And I'm sure down the line I'll most probably come across a nicer, maybe Apple pressing. I think it came out on Apple originally, so I'll probably seek out a nice Apple copy at some point. But yeah, those two were nice to find on the same day. And recently, staying with John Lennon, kind of, I'm going to go in to a Beatles album now that I picked up. I posted this on the VC Facebook page a few days ago, and a lot of people were saying that I got pretty lucky in finding this for the price that I did. So again, I was very happy to find this in the same store. They just seem to have an influx of amazing stuff recently. You know, there's definitely been times where I've been kind of underwhelmed by the stuff they've had in there, but over the last few weeks, they've really stepped their game up, and they've put out some really great secondhand records. So yeah, I managed to find a pristine copy of Meet the Beatles, which is obviously the first Capitol album that the Beatles released in the States. And it was quite kind of coincidental to find this, I think on the same day that the US albums, the Capitol albums, were remastered and put out on CD. And I think I found this either on the day or a couple of days after that. This is a 1976 reissue. It's not an original. It's not a 60s copy of this. But again, I was very happy to find it. And maybe down the line I'll pick up an original. I'm definitely hoping that I will. But, you know, this was in amazing condition. And the vinyl plays just crystal clear. So I thought I can't really resist it. I'll pick it up and you know, take a risk with it. And I think it's on the orange Capitol label. Get it out. Yeah, it's on that kind of orangey red Capitol label. This is a reissue from 1976, so I was very happy to find this one. I think I paid £6 or £7 in the end for this, for some really classic early Beatles stuff. You can't go wrong. I won't put that away now. So getting into the final two finds now. This first one here, again, found in the same store. All of these secondhand finds, in fact, everything in this final update that is secondhand, I found in my local record store, which I was very happy about. And this one here, I kind of took a risk with this one. I didn't know anything about this band. Before picking this up, I researched them briefly when I was in the store and kind of saw what this was going for on Discogs. And I picked up Yellow. This is their album, You Gotta Say Yes to Another Excess. I believe this came out in 1984, sorry. And this is an Italian pressing of this album. I think this is their second full-length or third full-length album from the band Yellow. They're kind of a synth pop, kind of new wave. I don't know how you would describe them. Kind of synth pop outfit from the 80s. And as far as I can tell, they put out some pretty classic stuff for that genre. Some kind of pioneering albums in the early 80s and throughout the 80s. And this was one of them. Not considered, I don't think, as their best work, but again, I think I only paid £2.50 for this, so I thought it's a chance for me to get into another band. And yeah, I was really happy to pick this up. And again, it's in pretty much pristine condition. So that was Yellow. And finally here, this is an album which I picked up today. I just nipped into the record store about an hour ago, and I'd seen this before and I was kind of pondering picking it up, but it was slightly on the expensive side. I think I paid £9 for this, which, you know, I'm kind of on a budget. I'm not trying to spend a bit less at the moment, so I was a bit hesitant originally to pick this up, but I went in today and I thought I'd just take the plunge. And it's by an artist which I am yet to get any albums from up until this point, so I thought it'd be a good chance for me to start off my collection. And I picked up a Joni Mitchell album. Of course, this is Clouds from, I think, 1970. Oh, help me out here. This is I think it's 1970 or 71. I'm pretty sure her first album came out in 1969. Or maybe this one came out in 1969 and her first album came out in 67. I can't exactly remember, but yeah, this is Clouds. And it's regarded as her first, I guess, probably her first really great album. I think a lot of people kind of dismiss the first album, although some people kind of cite it as a classic. Other people prefer what she did on Clouds, and then of course what she went on to do with Blue and For the Roses and Court and Spark. And there was a nice copy of For the Roses in there as well today, but I think that was £10 or £12, so I didn't pick that one up. But yeah, I managed to find, again, a pretty much pristine copy of Clouds. I think this is an original UK. It might be a second pressing of Clouds on the Warner Brothers label, Reprise. And the vinyl, I haven't played this one yet, but the vinyl looks like it's in amazing condition. So yeah, as soon as I wrap up this video, I'm going to put this one on the turntable and give it a spin, because I haven't actually heard this all the way through yet. I've heard most of her 70s albums, but I haven't heard Clouds all the way through. So yeah, looking forward to giving this a spin. And yeah, I just thought it was a good chance to commence my Joni Mitchell collection, which I hope will grow rapidly this year. So those are my finds, guys. Sorry that I've again rambled on for far too long, but yeah, I thought I've managed to find some pretty awesome things. I'm very happy with my finds, and I guess I'm going to try and take a little bit of a break now from buying vinyl, and unless something immediately kind of stands out and I really have to have it, then I'm probably going to try and hold off for a week or so before picking up any more vinyl. But you never know. When you're a collector, you just don't know when you're going to find a gem or a grail. So yeah, I might have another vinyl update coming up shortly, but at the moment I'm just pretty content with the stuff that I've managed to find. So that's it, guys. That's my vinyl update. Thanks very much for watching, and I want to come back and do a review of Another Side of Bob Dylan, which I've actually got here. Only got the CD on mono and stereo, but yeah, I want to do a review of that album, which is the next installment in my Dylan studio album reviews. So I'm looking forward to doing that, hopefully over the next few days, so stay tuned for that one. Okay, Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.